Hi, everyone. Welcome to Chasing Dreams Thursdays. I'm Lisa McLean, CEO and founder of Lisa McLean Publications. And if you are new to our live tonight, this is our weekly program where we talk about all kinds of things that have to do with self publishing, working on your manuscript, writing a book, or even just talking about books in general. Sometimes we even throw in a little bit about education because that's my other passion. So happy to be here. I look forward to our Thursday sessions together. And this week was a pretty exciting week. So I'm hoping that you're all gathering your thoughts to share your little step to chasing your dreams when we get started. Hello, Sybil T. Thank you for joining. I think this is your first time here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You'd have to let me know. Let me know in the comment section if you write, if you're thinking of writing, if you've ever published. Good to have. We welcome everyone. I love to see new faces. So I normally start off by talking about any little step that I took towards chasing my dreams this week. And I think the one step that I took this week that was tremendous to me was really kind of drawing on my support group. I have a group of persons who I guess it would be likened to a mastermind. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining. It's really good to see you. So we were just talking about our little steps towards chasing our dreams. We had just started. So definitely let me know what little step you took towards chasing your dreams this week. I was going to share that my little step, which I think is actually a big step, was really taking advantage of my mastermind group that I'm a part of. And I've mentioned them before. It's a group of persons who have a variety of backgrounds. So it's not a group of educators or a group of just persons in publishing. On the contrary, they have a range of backgrounds in different fields, different professional hats that they wear. So we have public speaking, we have marketing, human resource management. I'm one of maybe 3 educators in the group. We have project managers, the works. It's quite an eclectic group, which is awesome because everyone comes to the table with so many different perspectives and experiences. And this week, it was all about accountability. Letting them know that, what goals did we have for the week, and holding each other accountable. And I certainly dove into that. I had 2 or 3 things that I had on my plate that needed to get accomplished really early on in the week. And it was great to speak to them, use them as a sounding board, get their feedback, and of course, have them check in to say, hey, is it done? So certainly something that you want to look at, that's worth considering. If you don't already have a nice little team, a nice little network of persons that you connect with and that you can share your ideas with on a professional, well, this is more on a professional level, because I just find that it keeps you on track. There's nothing like that accountability factor. So that was my little step. Please share yours and let me know how things are going, for sure. I tried to throw out little interesting tidbits before we even jump into our actual topic for today. And what I would love to share is just really the beauty of social media in expanding your network as a publisher. My favorite is Twitter. And I was just looking at one of the persons that I follow on Twitter, and he's a writer. I don't think he's a self-published writer. I've heard him speak of his agent and stuff before. But what's really cool is that he drops these little writing prompts on a daily basis. So maybe he'll show a picture that says, okay, this is my cover for today. Or if this were the cover of your book, what would be the first few lines of your story? Or if this happened in your story, how would you follow up? What would your main character say? And it seems like a little thing, it seems really novel. But what I like is that it really kind of gets you thinking about a whole range of different genre of types of work that you probably hadn't even thought of writing. So it's kind of fun from that perspective, you know. If you're like me, I love to write children's books. Very often his images are science fiction, historical fiction, something like that for adults. It's also great to see everybody else's responses too, right? To see how they've interpreted the image or the prompt, because it also gives you ideas, because they really are thinking outside the box in a way that you would not have considered. So my challenge to you this week is find somebody on social media that resonates with you and your publishing goals or other goals, because maybe you're not here for self-publishing primarily, so in whatever field, and follow them. Find someone that you truly connect with, and jump right in. I will post in the chat a little later the handle of the gentleman that I'm speaking to you about, because if you like the thought of that, of just thinking on the spot and coming up with 40 characters of just something fun, then that might be someone interesting for you to follow. So with that being said, I think we should jump into tonight's topic. We have a couple of people coming up, a couple guests coming up in the next couple of weeks that will talk about really serious topics like NFTs, some more, dig a little deeper into different aspects of marketing that we may not have touched on. We've looked at branding. So if you're really interested in branding, you want to go back into one of our earlier episodes where we did speak with Stephen Hart on that. So I thought I'd keep it fairly light today. Fairly light, but I think something that's really important for authors to consider. So the worst thing in the world is to hit publish. And you sit there and you're waiting and you're like, oh, only 5 people bought my book. And those might be your 5 best friends, or like your mom, your auntie, and your 3 kids. That could be really deflating, because, you know, most authors really want to see that there are, you know, all of these wonderful people out there who resonate with their story. So one of the things that I talk about with my coaching clients is that idea of marketing early, marketing before you publish, and that can take different forms, but develop your audience before you hit publish. And in fact, it doesn't even stop there, because after you published your first book, most people still don't know who you are. It really takes a commitment to publishing regularly to develop a true audience. And, you know, like the marker is like your 3rd book. And for some authors, it might be 4 or 5, unless you're really well known. But for the average author, it's somewhere between that 3 to 6 book soft spot, where having published enough, people recognize your name, they like the material that you're putting out, and you may then find that some of your earlier books really start to take off in sales, because anyone who sees your later books will be like, oh, let me check out everything else, right? So the question I'm sure you must wonder is, well, okay, if I've never published, or if I've only published 1 book, how do you build up an audience? Because churning a book out is really difficult to do. It's not, unless you are a full-time author, it's really hard to say, oh my gosh, I'm gonna write a book once a month. And if you're writing a longer text, a novel, a more in-depth, research-heavy type of book, typically average may end up being once a year, you know? So what do you do in the meantime? Because in the meantime, you need to develop a relationship with future readers and develop a relationship with the readers that you currently do have who like your work. And the easiest way to do that is to start a blog. But we were talking about this in our coaching group discussion this Saturday morning. And, you know, it sounds so simple, but starting a blog covers what I think are 3 key areas that authors really should consider. The first being the obvious, what I just said, which is it helps you to build an audience, right? So You're publishing, it's out in the public sphere. No one has to wait on your next book. So already you have material out there that people will be able to explore, they have access to. So they'll know Lisa McLean has this blog and it's going to come out every Thursday and she's going to email it. And so, okay, I know she's a writer, even if they never ever read it. At least your name resonates with writing. Hopefully they will read it, because that's the other reason that you want to write a blog. Hello, Cal876, thanks for joining. So apart from just people connecting your name to the publishing industry and being a writer, what blogging also does is it familiarizes them with your style of writing, because that's how we choose books, right? I mean, I am like that. I'm sure you're like that. There are particular styles of writing we like. We have particular authors that we gravitate towards because we like how they structure their books, or we like the kind of language they use, or we like what they write about. I mean, I love historical fiction, right? So I know I'm going to hit certain genre. I mean, I used to love Stephen King when I was younger. Maybe not my thing right now because he's such a great writer. So when I read his horror books, I'm like, oh my God, this is just really realistic. So you know who you like, right? And so it's a nice way to give your audience a taste of your style of writing. And because it's a blog post, it's a short snippet. So it doesn't require the commitment to a book, right? So it's an easy way to gain somebody's attention and to kind of gain their affection as well, to commit to showing up every week to reading your blog. So two reasons why blogging is just such an easy way to start building an audience, right? So people associate you with writing and they are able to develop a sense for what you write and how you write. And the third less kind of glamorous reason why writing a blog is so useful is that it forces you as a writer to develop a habit of writing. Because yeah, it takes discipline. We all are busy, right? Most of us who go into writing books do so as an addendum to a full-time job or an addendum to family responsibilities, whatever that looks like, whether it's young kids, caregiving, parents, things like that. So there's always a lot going on. And with the best of intentions, you're going to say, yes, I'm churning out that book. I'm going to do one each year. And you know what? If you do not commit to, and it's the same accountability factor that I spoke about earlier in the show, if you don't commit to a time, or if you don't commit to, I know I'm doing this one task each week, it really is easy for time to pass and you really haven't written anything. And blogging forces you to do that. If you know that you have committed to a blog every week, you've committed to a blog once every 2 weeks, because there is that accountability factor, you know that your audience is expecting you to send something, all right? You're likely to show up and do it. You have a fourth reason, right? My fourth favorite reason. So another reason, you really kind of just want to develop that habit. If you can write every day, great. If you have that flexibility and you're good at saying every evening at 9:30, I'm gonna write for 15 minutes, then this is not the main reason why you want to blog for every other reason. I used to be able to do that, not so much now. So I find that committing to a blog works. Committing to my Thursday show works as well, because it also encourages me and pushes me to do the research I need to do to keep on top of what's happening in the publishing industry, right? The fourth reason and I told you, this is broad, right? It's a little extra. This is actually my favorite reason for writing a blog. It gives you material for your book. Maybe not if you're doing historical fiction necessarily. You could actually do a weekly snippet of churning out parts of your book. it's a really good route to go if you're going with nonfiction. So if you are trying to break into the lifestyle business and you are focusing on a particular area, whether it's wellness at work, whether it's building confidence, whatever it is, if you want to discuss historical topics, it's actually a good way to build up the chapters of your book. So each blog post that you write becomes a really good outline, so to speak, that having done maybe 15 blogs, compile them, go through them, expand on them, enrich them even more, and ta-da, there you go. Your book is written. So that weekly commitment can actually pay off at the end of it beyond just developing an audience. So do you need any more convincing? Like seriously, like it is the one little thing that you could do right now, even if your book is not finished. It will force you to get started. It will give you the energy, the momentum to just jump in and get it done. Because the more you write and the more energized you get over writing and the more you get into that habit, is the more it carries over into everything else. Because you're like, oh my God, I did my blog. Now I need to make time to work on my book. So that's my topic for tonight. Very simple, very basic. You want an easy way to help you to work towards those goals without having to churn out a book every week, which is next to impossible unless you're doing like really thin books. Start a blog. It would help you to build an audience. It will help your audience to become familiar with your writing. It will give you the accountability you need to develop a writing habit. And it may just give you the framework that you need for your book. There you go. And the beautiful thing with technology these days is that you actually do not even need to know much coding. I mean, there's so many websites. I use Wix. They have these beautiful templates. Just slot them in. If you are a WordPress person, then even better, because then you can fiddle with the designs. I think it's not as intuitive. But there's so many platforms that you have access to that you can just hit go on. So easy to get started. And you just need to get started. Like, don't overthink it. It does not have to be perfect the first time. You just need to start. Start it, and it will be a great way to look back and to reflect on how your writing is evolving and progressing. Let me know if you want more ideas to get started. We have our subscription group, which has some fun activities attached. We have our drop-in session, which is free for everyone, by the way. You don't have to be a part of our group for that, but we do our drop-in sessions. We meet and we have our coaching session once a week and throw out tips, and we have our newsletter with additional information. Just lots of ways of building a community to support each other on top of everything else. So check out our website, IamLisaMcLean.com. That's the publishing company that I started. If you need some help to publish, let me know. That's what I'm here for. Any questions before we wrap up for tonight? Because I do see the time ticking away. And I did sound like I was wrapping up, and I do actually have some time. So let me hit pause on that. Any questions for me? Any comments? Any wonderful milestones that you had this week that you want to share? And, feel free, if you can't think of anything right now, to add it in the chat afterwards. These are always saved and posted on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, for you to take a look at. And if you were late, the recording is there. All right. So let's wrap up for today. So just remember, we do this every Thursday. And I always challenge you to take one little step towards chasing those amazing, wonderful, fantastic dreams of yours. Have an amazing weekend. Looking forward to see you again next week, Thursday. And don't forget to chase those dreams. Have a good evening. Bye, everyone.